This is the Purple and Gold Hour, presented by the University of North Alabama Foundation. Your spotlight on the University of North Alabama, featuring conversations with UNA officials and friends of the university. This is your look inside campus. Now your host, the voice of the Lions, Benjamin Ray.
Hello and welcome into the final edition of the Purple and Gold Hour, brought to you by the University of North Alabama Foundation. This is your spotlight and inside look at the University of North Alabama. I'm Benjamin Ray with you. It's hard to believe it's been 12 weeks, but here we are, the final football game of the season. We're up in Hampton, Virginia, where North Alabama is getting set to take on the Hampton Pirates in the season finale. Again, it feels like just yesterday we were kicking off football season, launching the show with UNA President Dr. Ken Kitts, and here we are wrapping it up. This week we're going inside the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College. Vince Bruton will stop by. Dr. Bruton is the Dean of the Honors College. We also have another student guest, Miss Anna Mims, a sophomore from Tupelo, Mississippi. She's a nursing major. She'll talk to us about her experience in the Honors College. Then this past week we had the Lions Athletic Club luncheon at the Strickland Hotel in downtown Florence, our final meeting of the semester. But we had a ton of coaches stop by. We wanted to give you an opportunity to hear from each and every one of them. Interim volleyball coach Andrew Kroger wraps up volleyball season. Chris Walker, head soccer coach, he joins us again this week. He talks about his signing class so far. He signed 2 players last week on signing day. Head basketball coach Tony Poolhold talks about the first week of basketball season. And then we'll wrap up the show with a conversation with Bryce Bishop, talking some UNA tennis, wrapping up their fall season, getting you ready for the spring. So let's get the show started. Coming up next, we'll hear from Dr. Vince Bruton. This is the Purple and Gold Hour, brought to you by the University of North Alabama Foundation.
I knew I wanted to do engineering from Best Robotics that I was in high school. I kind of learned what engineering had to offer, and I knew I was good at problem solving and things like that, good at math and science and stuff. I came to UNA and figured out what it was, what it had to offer. After learning about the program, it was exactly what I wanted to do. This program really prepares you to go into the industry, and it is preparing me for exactly the types of jobs I want to do. The community here is definitely different than other programs. I can call up really any of my professors or email them or just step in their office and knock on the door, and they're always available. And it's really more conducive for learning than other programs where, you're in a huge class or something like that.
I really had some aspirations that maybe they'd go to school here as well, because we're both alumni. We're just thrilled to see all 3 of our boys in school here.
A view of UNA that I've run into a lot is people say it's just, it's your own backyard, or, it's a little hometown school or something like that. But every school is in somebody's backyard, and there are people that go here and get the exact same internships and the same opportunities, and if not more opportunities, because we're a local school. And it was just something that I knew was a great fit for me.
We kick off the Purple and Gold Hour presented by the University of North Alabama Foundation. This is your spotlight and inside look at the University of North Alabama. It's our final episode. It's hard to believe the final football Saturday has arrived. We're up in Hampton, Virginia, getting set to take on Hampton, our final football game of the year. Where has the semester gone? Well, in this episode, we're going inside the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College. Kicking off this episode today, we welcome in Dr. Vince Bruton, the Dean. Dr. Bruton, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ben. Glad to be here and really excited about this fall semester as we get close to Thanksgiving, and very excited about the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College. Look forward to speaking with you about it.
Now, before we get into the Honors College, I like to ask people just your UNA story. What was your journey to UNA?
Sure. I was finishing up grad school at another university, and there was a job available here at UNA in the English department. And I applied for that position and got it and started in the fall of 2001. So I've been here over 20 years. And I honestly, I came here because it was a job, but I stayed because I loved it. I loved UNA. I loved this area. My wife and I raised our kids 2 blocks from campus. They grew up running around campus. All 3 went to Kilby. we've had a tremendous experience here, and wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
So you have great perspective. You've been here since '01. We love to talk about the change and the growth. Record enrollment, 11 straight terms now, over 8,800 students this semester. From your perspective, I mean, how much growth have you seen since you arrived?
So UNA was around 5,400 students when
Wow.
I came, right? And most of that was undergraduate. Only about 10% was graduate, right? And what I tell people when we're recruiting them, I say everything that I loved about UNA in the area that was true in 2001 is still true, right? Great people, the friendliest campus I've ever been on, safe, very reasonably priced university education, especially a high value compared to what you get, right? Just a tremendous value at UNA. Beautiful area. You have outdoor stuff here. Within minutes of campus, you can walk to Cypress Creek. You can walk to the river. But you also have a clean, safe, friendly downtown, too. So you have the best of all possible worlds. The one thing that has changed since I came here in '01 is that in '01, there wasn't a lot to do. And it was a little slow. And now, with kids, I don't have time to do anything. But there are 3 things every night that if I had time, I would go and do, right? So that's the one thing that has changed. Everything else has remained the same. The friendliness, the safe, beautiful area that we have here in Florence. And but now there's a ton of things to do every night of the week.
It's remarkable. Students get here, the different avenues they can pursue, whether it's something you're interested in, something you're learning about. There truly is something for everyone. Okay, let's jump into the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College, and let's start with the origin story. You guys have had a lot of growth as we speak about growth, but tell us about how you guys have grown and changed over the years.
So I wasn't here in the 80s, but I'm told that the idea for an honors program has been around since the mid-80s. That wasn't actually funded and put into place until about 2004. And a lot of people had a role in that. I do want to mention Tom Osborne, one of our retired history faculty, who really pushed and got that going in 2004. And then I came on board in 2005. There was a search for a director, an initial director in 2005, and really appreciate the support we've always had from the administration, different presidencies since I've been here. That was under President Kale's leadership that we started the honors program as it was then in 2005. And that was in March, right? And we brought in our first class of 31 students in August of 2005. And we've had great success since then. But that class, I owe them a lot. We all owe them a lot because, they came and when it wasn't here, right? And they built the success that we have today because they came on a promise. There was no honors program. They were the first class, and so we owe them a lot. And a number of them are still very involved in the university, and we stay in touch with all of the graduates from that class. And every class, we keep in touch with every graduating class as they go forward, and that's one of the best parts of my job.
Now, you guys have gone from program to college to a named college. What's the significance of each of these steps that you've taken?
So when Ross Alexander came here 5 years ago to be the provost, he has provided innovative leadership in pretty much everything he has touched. And one of the things that he thought we should do right away was transition the existing honors program with 270 or so students and make it an honors college. And normally you make that move when you have a major gift in hand. And President Kitts and I had talked about it, certainly, and the provost, Ross Alexander, had suggested, well, let's go ahead and do that, and it will help us with name recognition for the new honors college and help with enrollment. And that's exactly what has happened. Even before we had a donor step up and name the college in March of this year, we were already experiencing significant growth, and a lot of that was just due to the elevated profile of the Honors College. And so we went from honors program in 2005 to 2018 was when we became an honors college, and then in March of this year became the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College, named after 2 UNA alums, both of whom are in their 80s now, but very spirited and wonderful people who love UNA. They just bleed purple and gold, and they are the finest people, the finest representatives of the university that we could ask for to have their names on the Honors College.
Now, you mentioned growth. You guys compromised 10% of the UNA student population. Let's talk about that incredible growth. I mean, what has spurred that? Take us a little deeper into that.
So a lot of that just really comes from the support that we've had from President Kitts, and since he came in 2015, and then the provost who came 5 years ago, they have supported us financially and in all kinds of ways that are hard to quantify, that helped us elevate our profile and made that kind of growth possible, including things like housing scholarships, which are really crucial to recruiting exceptional students. If you don't have the competitive financial inducements, it's difficult to recruit in that environment. Their support has been instrumental, but I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that we've had great support from the UNA faculty, who you'd think that would be a given, but on many college campuses, faculty like things the way they are. In an honors program or college, it's something that they have to cooperate with, and that cooperation is not always there. But I can tell you that at UNA it has been, and our faculty have been terrific when it comes to supporting what we want to do, right, and kind of coordinating what they're doing with what we do. I would also want to point out several offices that we wouldn't be able to do what we do without their help. Admissions is one, the registrar's office, financial aid, housing and res life. They've been such troopers in helping us do what we need to do in order to grow the college, and they've just been fabulous in support.
We're talking to Dr. Vince Bruton, the Dean of the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College. All right, let's talk about the student experience in the Honors College. What makes it so special and unique?
So I think our Honors College is maybe a little different than some. I can't speak for everyone, but what we try to do when we recruit a student to come to UNA and be a part of the Honors College, we don't tell them that we're going to make life really difficult for you when you come here. We assume that they are already going to challenge themselves and they have high expectations for themselves, and what we want to do is help them do amazing things when they come, right? Students are often stressed out about college. They are anxious about the performing at the highest levels, and so what we want to do is give them that boost so that they can and then go even further maybe than they thought that they could. And so that's really the key for us, is we've always kept it light and loose and fun, and students appreciate that, and I think that has been part of our growth. We also really emphasize the benefits that we offer, and the chief of those benefits. So the other students they're the best part of the Honors College, and we liken it to a good neighborhood, right? You're going to make your own friends, but when you come to college and you're part of the Honors College, it's like living in a good neighborhood. And when the dog gets out, you have people there to help you, and that's what we are. We have a great staff as well. Our associate dean, Michelle Nelson, new this year, is from the College of Nursing, so we have somebody embedded in our staff who can help, which is what our biggest major is right now, is nursing, can really help those students track through our program. Laura Beasley's been with us 8 years. She came up with the idea of a mentor program, which has been one of the most successful things that we've done, which really helps students transition from high school to college through our mentor program. That's 100% Laura Beasley's idea, her brainchild, and she's executed that and brought it to life, and that's been very helpful for our students. And we're really a family. We do everything we can to provide a family experience for our students.
So we hear honor student, and people may not necessarily know what all that means. So what exactly does it entail being an honor student at UNA?
So our students typically come in a little better prepared than the average student, so with higher credentials, right? And we offer them additional scholarships and other perks, benefits to come, right? Early registration, so they always get the class schedule that they need. Small classes, which is a cornerstone of honors education pretty much anywhere. And one of the great things about working at UNA is that there aren't really big classes here anyway, right? So there are no 200 and 300 student lecture classes at UNA, and that's a great selling point for the university as a whole, but then our honors courses tend to be smaller still, and students nationally do better in a small class than they do in a larger class. So one of the things that we can offer is we can tell students that you will actually do better in your honors classes as a general rule than you will do in other classes because of the engagement with the faculty. Faculty engagement is another piece of what we offer students. When a faculty member knows that they're working with an honors student, either on a senior project, research, helping them with an internship, to know that they're working with an honors student is something that our faculty really like. And so that helps the student. It builds a relationship that is crucial later when they're looking for references and recommendations for grad school or that first job. You know, just to have taken a class with a faculty member is really not enough to build a relationship. You need something else to have that person be a mentor to you and be a support with the next thing after college, and that's where the rubber hits the road.
Now, how do you see the Honors College continuing to expand and welcome new students as UNA continues to grow?
So the really exciting thing that I'm happy to share is that we have a new building in store. We hope to move into that building in 2023, fall of 2023, and cannot be more excited about that new construction, which will take place in what I like to think of as the new center of gravity of campus. You know, the fountain and the lion habitat will always be the heart and soul of campus, but there's a center of gravity developing where next to the new Harrison Hall and the Anderson College of Nursing and Health Professions, right next to that facility is LaGrange Hall, which is currently unoccupied. That building will come down. A new building and an amphitheater will be constructed there. They'll also create some space to expand the rec center and put in a climbing wall and have a lot of other cool stuff, and a new sort of center of gravity formed there right across the street from Flowers. We have a lot of student athletes in the Honors College. That's something that people may not recognize when they're looking at schools, but we probably have 40 or 50 varsity scholarship athletes in the Honors College out of our 635 students right now. And we're so excited about a new building. It'll double our capacity for students living in our building, but also increase our square footage for operating space, places that students can come and study, work on group projects together, meet with our staff, just hang out, because that's one of the most important perks of an honors college is you just have a place to go, right? It's sort of like a private club where you can go and spend time and hang out with your friends and de-stress, and that's something we really, have always offered since we moved into our current home, and we'll be able to do that in a bigger way in the new building.
We had Dr. Kidsholm, our very first guest, and he mentioned seeing construction equipment on campus. That's the ultimate sign of growth. We talk a lot about growth, obviously, and what we're experiencing now, but that's what's to come, and man, that's amazing. We just continue to do great things for students. So we've talked a lot about the Honors College. How can people get more information?
So the best way is either to come visit us, right? And we'd love to meet with people face-to-face, and or call or email us. Our website is una.edu/honors. That's una.edu/honors, or you can just Google the Honors College or the Cole Honors College at UNA, and we'll come up, and we can talk by phone, by Zoom. We'd love to meet with you in person. Our application is fully online on that website. It's free to apply. You can apply year-round. Transfer students are encouraged to apply. Current students are encouraged to apply. High school seniors, the bulk of our students come into us from high school. We encourage them to apply by February 1st, although that's not a deadline. We do encourage a February 1 application date.
Dr. Bruton, this has been great. Is there anything we didn't cover, anything we need to discuss about the Honors College?
Hey, Ben, the best is yet to come. We appreciate you, and we appreciate being on the program today.
That's Dr. Vince Bruton, the Dean of the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College. Thank you for joining us. Hey, we've got a special treat coming up next. We've got a student that's going to tell us a little bit more about the Honors College. We'll get that rolling coming up after this break. This is the Purple and Gold Hour, presented by the University of North Alabama Foundation.
My whole life has been about making an impact. Not just on the field, but in the world around me. My high school Spanish teacher helped me find my true calling to educate and serve others all over the world. I used to think the biggest college was the best place to start, but my search brought me to North Alabama. At UNA, my story matters, and so does my calling.
I realized that there was a lot of just business, just the day-to-day business of the chamber that I did not feel particularly comfortable in. There was an opportunity at UNA to pursue my MBA and thought that it might be a really good idea just to bolster that side of my education. Professors were so understanding and willing to work with us. I realized then I had made the right choice, that UNA was the correct institution for me. I've never talked to anyone who's gone forward with their education who regretted that decision. It's not been easy every day, but totally worth it at all times.
We keep the Purple and Gold Hour rolling, presented by the University of North Alabama Foundation. This is your Spotlight and Inside Look at the University of North Alabama. I'm Benjamin Ray on this final football Saturday. We're up here in Hampton, Virginia, getting set to take on the Hampton Pirates. Our return trip, we did not see Hampton in 2020. We last came up here in 2019. Lost a heartbreaker. Hopefully today we have some better luck in the final game of the year. Kickoff coming up at noon. Brian Neese will join me shortly for the Countdown to Kickoff show. And don't forget, your UNA women's basketball team is in action today against Georgia State as well. A 1 p.m. tip inside of Flowers Hall. You could go watch the football game in there on your smartphone on ESPN Plus. You could listen to myself and Brian as well and still take on the women in what should be a good game against Georgia State. Hey, they returned here about 2 years ago. We beat them in this very building, so maybe we can do that yet again. All right, let's get back into the Honors College. We're talking the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College. We just heard from the dean, Dr. Vince Bruton. Now we welcome in our second ever student guest, and Miss Anna Mims, a sophomore from Tupelo, Mississippi. Anna, thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I'm excited to get into your UNA story from Tupelo, Mississippi. East Union Attendance Center is where you graduated from. Tell us your UNA story. What brought you to Florence, the Shoals, and the University of North Alabama?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm from Tupelo, so I had never heard of UNA at all before like my junior year of high school. So I went to a college fair that was put on and saw UNA there and got some information about it. But I actually graduated in the pandemic class, so my college plans were a little crazy at that point. But I visited UNA my junior year and then came back my senior year and just really loved it. And I'm a nursing major, so the promise of that new nursing building was a really big draw for me. And also just that UNA is a smaller campus, and I graduated from a high school with 62 people in my graduating class, so going to a big university was not something I really wanted to do. It was not a place where I would be comfortable, so I really liked that UNA was kind of the big college feel without actually having the numbers behind it.
I always say our admissions staff they're a bunch of rock stars over there, and that's the perfect example. What was your first impression of campus when you got up here for the first time?
Well, it was actually really rainy the first time I ever came, so it wasn't as pretty as I really was hoping it would be, but when I came back and it was sunny, campus is so gorgeous, especially in the fall with all the trees and the leaves and stuff like that, and actually getting the fall colors is really nice. But I also just really liked the way campus is set up and the kind of the flow of campus, and having a live lion on campus is really cool. I had never seen like a live mascot at any school I'd ever visited, so that was a pull, obviously, as well.
Have you heard him roar on campus yet?
All the time. One of my classes, you could actually hear him sitting in class, and it's very interesting.
You always kind of forget about him, then you hear him roar, and it really is majestic. So you mentioned you're a nursing student. What led you down that path?
I'm not even really sure. It was kind of just something that one day I woke up and I was like, maybe I should be a nurse. My school did a lot of like going to career fairs and things like that, and kind of getting exposed to nursing that way is something that I really enjoyed. And I also just decided that I kind of want to help people. I grew up in a family of teachers, and kind of seeing the way that they do it, I realized that that wasn't how I wanted to necessarily be involved in other people's lives, but it was something that I kind of wanted to do, and nursing was a kind of a great pathway for that.
All right, so let's jump into the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College. So what attracted you to the Honors College here at UNA?
So when I visited, I came on a preview day, and so I did the tours and all that kind of stuff and came to the Honors College. And I guess because I was like an honors student in high school, it kind of seemed like just the traditional next step for me. But meeting Vince and Laura and seeing like how involved they are with the students and how much the Honors College actually helps you. Like, it's not just a sticker you get on your diploma or something like that. It's actually like a family and a community and a way to help you through college was what made me want to join.
Now, I'm glad you said that, because people hear honors college, and that might intimidate them just a little bit. What exactly does it take? What does a day in, day out look like for an honors college student?
Yeah, so a lot of people ask me, like, when they come on tours and ask me about the honors college, they're like, our class is harder. And the answer to that is not necessarily that they're harder, but they're different. And it's getting used to kind of a different teaching style and a different way of learning is kind of how you become an honors student, because in high school you get a lot of like PowerPoint, lecture, that kind of stuff. And as an honors student, they want you to understand it, not just learn it for the test and forget it. Like, it has to be drilled into your head. So, but also having those smaller classes, you get that better connection with your professors, and you just, it's easier to learn, I think. So,
how do you feel your experience as a student in the honors college has been slightly different maybe than some of your friends who might not be in the honors college?
So I think we just have more connections as an honor student. You get more connected to your community as an honor student, the fellow honor students that you have. You're more connected to your professors, to the staff of the honors college. We also just have more things to be involved in on campus. I mean, we have events at the honors college all the time, like at least once a month, things like that. So it is just a more of an involvement than an average student, I think, would have on a day-to-day basis.
So I'm going to ask you to do something for me. Let's put a hat on. Let's say you're recruiting a student for UNA. My first question to you, why should I come to UNA?
So I think you should come to UNA because it is a family here. You are going to be comfortable. You are going to get to know people. It's going to be something that you enjoy. Even though college and classes aren't always the best thing ever, it is going to be a great experience on campus and off campus with your friends, and you're going to have the time of your life.
Sign me up. That was an excellent answer. So now the second question I have is, why should I consider and sign up and apply for the Honors College?
So the Honors College is just going to be there to help you. Everything you need is in the Honors College. Recommendation letters, connections, networking, things like that for future jobs. Like, all of that is in the Honors College, and that is what the Honors College aims to give every one of its students.
We're talking with Anna Mims, a sophomore from Tupelo, Mississippi, a nursing major here at the University of North Alabama. All right, let's talk about campus life as a whole. What are some of your favorite things about UNA campus and just being here?
So, I guess one of my favorite campus events is Light the Fountain. That is so much fun. Last year I got to go because we finally built the new fountain. We were very excited about that. We weren't sure it was going to happen. But seeing the new fountain all lit up and stuff like that is really, really fun. I also just love like hanging out in the GUC. The GUC is kind of in the center of campus, and it's one of the best places to just study with your friends or hang out, things like that. So,
did you do the Lucky Dip?
I did do the Lucky Dip on the first day. I'm actually in a sorority, so we kind of all went together, and we had our own little table set up at Lucky Dip and did it all together, and it was really fun.
Do you feel like it has brought you luck since you did it?
I hope so. I would like to believe that it has.
What are some of the other campus experiences that have stood out to you?
I don't know. Football games are really fun. I didn't go to any last year, but I've tailgated at a few this year, and kind of getting that like college experience, I guess, is really, really fun.
We're talking with Anna Mims. Wrapping things up, we've talked about your favorite thing at UNA, your campus pitch to students who might want to come to UNA, but you've got 2 more years left at UNA before you graduate. What do you feel like those 2 years look like?
Being a nursing major, probably a lot of stress. I'm getting ready to apply to nursing school now, so I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting to wear the purple scrubs around on campus and things like that. So
we see a lot of students running around in the purple scrubs. Anna, thank you so much for joining us here in the Purple and Gold Hour. That's sophomore Anna Mims from Tupelo, Mississippi, taking us inside the Dolores and Weldon Cole Honors College. We'll call for another timeout. We'll keep the coverage rolling. This is the Purple and Gold Hour, presented by the University of North Alabama Foundation.
I realized that there was a lot of just business, just the day-to-day business of the chamber that I did not feel particularly comfortable in. There was an opportunity at UNA to pursue my MBA and thought that it might be a really good idea just to bolster that side of my education. Professors were so understanding and willing to work with us. I realized then I had made the right choice, that UNA was the correct institution for me. I've never talked to anyone who's gone forward with their education who regretted that decision. It's not been easy every day, but totally worth it at all times.
We'll open up talking some UNA volleyball. The volleyball season wrapped up this past weekend. They closed the year with a 9-20 record overall, 3-13 in conference play. The 9 wins was as many as we had the first 3 years of the transition. And Coach Kroger, let's go back to the beginning of the year. You met your team, I think the day before you guys reported for camp, hired as the interim in July. So it's just the story of this season been like from meeting them the day before the season starts to making it to this point.
Yeah, it's been a crazy few months. I mean, when that's your situation, it's, hey, yeah, usually you want a big grand plan about, hey, this is what we're going to do at the beginning of the season, middle, and the season, because everything happened so quick, and I didn't know any of the players, how their minds worked. I hadn't seen them play in person, any of those things. It's been a lot of adjusting on the fly. And so it's not always ideal or how you hope to structure a season, but for this group, I think I knew all along every week I was going to know them better than the week before, and so having plans too far out ahead might not have been the right thing for this group.
At what point in the season do you feel like everybody finally felt comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could see we definitely hit a turning point in how we were playing right towards the middle of conference play, right? The weekend we had at home, we had Lipscomb and Central Arkansas all back-to-back. And from a competitive, how we're executing, their understanding kind of what I'm trying to give them on the court, and I'm understanding them a little bit better, that weekend seemed to be when everything clicked. We played great against one of the better teams in the conference in Lipscomb, and then we got a win against Central Arkansas that next night. And from there on, I think we continue to play some of our best volleyball of the season. And you always hope, hey, as the season goes on, can we play better and better? And I think we definitely were down the stretch playing our best volleyball of the season.
So here in about 3 minutes, the conference is going to release the end-of-the-year honors. UNA is going to have 2 honors on that list. The first one we want to talk about is Katie Floyd. She'll make the all-freshman team for the 3rd straight year. A freshman led the team in kills, 288 total kills for her, 2.85 kills per set. All-freshman selection this year from Louisville, Kentucky. How impressive was she all season?
Yeah, she was great. And the stats paint one picture, but there's a big portion of the volleyball game that doesn't end up in the box scores, and that's serve receive, right? We have our own metrics that we kind of see behind the scenes, but she was also one of the best passers as an outside hitter in the conference. And so I think, yes, the raw kill numbers are certainly impressive, but for her to be able to excel in a bunch of different parts of the game as a freshman, going through college volleyball, Division I volleyball for the first time, is really impressive. So, and on top of that, I think even as a freshman, she brought a gritty fire that certainly adds to kind of our personality on the court.
And she had a unique freshman story in that she actually graduated last December, enrolled at UNA in the spring. She could not play last spring, but she was on the team as as the program went through the shortened volleyball season in January. Did that pay dividends for her arriving early like that?
Yeah, I think so. The biggest piece of that is adjusting to college life in general, right? She played for an elite juniors team, and so she was used to competing against people who would be Division I athletes and all those kinds of things. But getting to campus and dealing with school and all of those things, when you have your own autonomy and all of those things, being able to go through that first semester in the spring and kind of learn how to do college well, I think made her able to focus on volleyball and really excel on the volleyball side of things without having to worry about the other stuff as much.
Maggie Sullivan will make the all-academic team in the ASUN. You don't have any seniors on the roster. She's a junior. What does she mean to the team this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Maggie, I think we maybe had 2 people who played every set all season, and she was one of them. She definitely was a rock that the team could kind of depend on. She never had low lows. She was just always a super dependable kind of piece. Always relied on her to be a really good blocker, a really good attacker, and again, do a lot of the things that sometimes don't always show up in the box score. And as a middle, you have one rotation, right, where one time per game where your libero, the person in the other colored jersey, doesn't play, right? Your middle has to serve. For 9 out of 10 teams in the conference, that's everybody's worst rotation, right? Because one of your best defenders isn't allowed to be in. Her serve got so good this year that when she was serving, that ended up being, I think, our second best scoring rotation when she was back there. And so that her serve brought something to our team that not a whole lot of teams have. So just, again, similar to Katie, like, she just affects the game in so many ways. And one of those is, again, as not a senior, but as a veteran leader, she's somebody that a lot of the team relies on.
Well, Coach Kroger, thanks for joining us, and congratulations on a great year.
Thank you.
My whole life has been about making an impact. Not just on the field, but in the world around me. My high school Spanish teacher helped me find my true calling to educate and serve others all over the world. I used to think the biggest college was the best place to start, but my search brought me to North Alabama. At UNA, my story matters, and so does my calling.
Chris Walker next, head soccer coach. Their season is over, but they're into the off-season now. We'll get an early off-season update from Chris Walker. He's been everywhere already, out scouting across the country. We'll hear about those trips as well that he's been on. They also had signing day last week. They welcomed in 2 signees. Start out with off-season workouts. You guys have been going for a week or 2 now. How have those been off to get started?
It's been good. I mean, it's nice to actually get some time to do some off-season workouts. So I don't know if the girls feel the same way, because a lot of off-season workouts this time of year revolve around the track, around the field. So we've been doing quite a bit of fitness and getting a couple of touches on the ball, but it's been good. You get to see a different side of them, the work rate, the ones that want to work now when it's November, December, and we don't play till August. So it's been good, and then we'll get in our spring season and get a couple of dates there and keep on moving.
Let's talk about your 2 signees so far. The first one, Molly Parham from Tupelo, Mississippi. That last name may be familiar to some. Her older sister worked in the athletic department for a number of years, started out in the ticket office with me, moved into broadcast as a GA. She's now working at Pepperdine University in California as one of their videographers, broadcast production people as well out there. She just started earlier this year out west. So now you're bringing another Parham, her younger sister from Tupelo. What kind of player is she?
She's great. I think Madison being here definitely helped us get Molly in, because I think Madison had a great experience here and really enjoyed it. And so Molly now coming in, she's an attacking player. Hopefully get her in to score some goals. From looking at her, she's all of about 5'3", but she'll definitely add some speed and some aggression on that side of stuff, and I think she'll fit in straight away and get into the mix and get us a few goals going forward.
An in-state player from Auburn, Alabama. The last player from Auburn was Shelby Wall, one of the all-time great goal scorers at UNA. Aubrey Sorkowski?
Yes.
Got that right. Tell us about her, goalkeeper.
Aubrey's fantastic. She'll be a really strong, and she'll come in. Now, obviously, the goalkeeping position was one of our stronger ones this year with Peyton and Jordan and the other Peyton as well. So, but Aubrey's going to come in there and give them a good run for her money. She's very well accomplished. She plays for the best club team in Alabama. She was nominated into the regional team that traveled over to Costa Rica and played over in England as well. So she's been playing at a very high level. We had to fend off quite a few schools to get her. Her mum is the assistant to the provost at Auburn. So Auburn were heavily after her. So it was nice to be able to bring her in this way. She came on a visit and we were able to get her signed and sealed a couple of weeks ago. So we're excited about getting Aubrey in. She was in the All-Star game in Alabama. So she was voted the best goalkeeper in Alabama last year. So we'll see what it does going forward.
So 2 signees, does that mean you're done? Could there be more?
No, there'll be a few more as we go through. We've got till August. Our signing date runs all the way through there. But this time frame right now is very heavy for recruiting. We've not been able to get on the road the last year and a half as much. So this last weekend, all 3 of us were out on the West Coast, which was great until I FaceTimed back and we were sat in San Diego and it was 90 degrees. And I FaceTimed my wife, and she's at the football game, and it was maybe 39 degrees. So it didn't go over too well when I got back. But, again, me and Tom will be on the road this weekend. We'll go out to North Carolina and then the first week of December we head overseas and try and bring in 1 or 2 more players to add something to us.
So you're going to all these places, San Diego, North Carolina, over in England. And how does this work? You're not just going to watch one team. You're going to tournaments, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like San Diego, for instance. I mean, I spent more time in San Diego watching teams from Birmingham, Alabama playing, which the way soccer goes, it's crazy. They have a few national events where hundreds of teams come in, and you just get out there and kids write to you, you go and watch them. Obviously, we identify a few. We go to North Carolina this weekend, and we've had over 120 emails already about, hey, come watch me play, which obviously we can't watch every single kid play, but we try and identify the best ones, and some out there, some of our 23s who have already verbally come our way, we'll get out and watch them as well. So it's exciting times.
We've had a lot of success with players coming from overseas over the years. What's the international recruitment process like?
It's a lot of it, I mean, between myself, Holly, and Tom, obviously having those connections through former players or where we've played before, or my dad was playing professionally, that definitely helps on that side of stuff, and it's been good. So it's just, can you get out there, can you see them play? Highlight videos is hard to trust because a lot of people look good on a highlight video. That's the whole point of it. So being able to get out there and see them play, or if we can't get there, having someone I truly trust to be like, hey, yeah, she's good enough and she can do it. And a lot of it, some of them come from former players who that build that good relationship. They come here, they have a good time, and then they go home and say, hey, we've got a player for you. So we'll see how it goes.
So North Carolina next. I know Coach Kroger's giving you a couple good restaurant recommendations.
Yes.
We know you'll have some fun out there.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit colder, though, so we've got the winter jacket ready to go.
Coach Walker, thank you very much.
Thank you.
With UNA being student-oriented, I know I will get smaller classes. The teachers are very dedicated in helping me understand the material. I feel like they really care that I succeed. If you're hesitant about whether you should or shouldn't get your master's, but you know that you want or need to, you should just do it, because you don't know where it's going to take you. And you don't know until you get on that path.
Tony Poolhole, welcome you up next. Basketball season tipped off last week. 2 games. They opened up in SEC country against Mississippi State in Starkville, last Wednesday night, a week ago from today. Lost that ball game 75-49. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Then they went to the Virgin Islands over the weekend, won that ball game. 5 players finished in double figures. And Coach Poolhole, 2 games into this season, what did you learn about your team the first time they played against someone else?
Well, the first thing we definitely learned was the fact that the competition level down at Starkville was really good. And I thought for the most part of that game, our guys really competed really well. And, hats off to them. They made us uncomfortable, especially down the stretch. But our guys, I thought, from a defensive standpoint, held their own. From an offensive standpoint, had opportunities, didn't take quite advantage. But again, just hats off to them. They did a lot of things to disrupt us.
Let's talk a little bit more about the Mississippi State game. You guys held Mississippi State without a field goal for the final 6 minutes and 50 seconds of the first half. 3 times you cut the lead down to single digits in the second half. Defensively, I mean, what did you like from your team's perspective?
Well, I think they settled down, right? The beginning of the game, I thought our guys, not that they were they got stage fright, but again, they're playing in front of their first home game, so they're bringing a lot of energy, and we told our guys that they're going to come out beating their chest, and they did. And our guys, we just turned the ball over. That was the key. We kept telling them, they're scoring off your turnovers. We got to calm it down. And sure enough, they did that. Offensively, they played with a little more poise in the end of the first half. I think the lead was like 24 at one point, and we went into halftime down 11. So our guys went on like a 15-2 run to end the first half, and it was defensively and offensively they just calmed down a little bit.
So you open up in SEC country. You had a lot of guys make their collegiate debuts. Then you go down to the Virgin Islands. 5 players score in double figures. You shot 50% from the field. And when you look down the stat sheet, a lot of those guys in double figures were guys that made their collegiate debuts against Mississippi State. So how big was it for them to sort of get their feet wet in a game like that?
Well, I think you need to bring Ahmad Smith up here because I was not there. I remember when the whole thing happened, I called my boss, Dr. Looney, and he was. I told him what was happening, and he was kind of excited on the other line, so I didn't know how to take it. He said, "Oh, Ahmad's going to take over, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, we're in good hands." So, but to be honest with you, after watching the film and got to watch the game, I think you're going to see this team. It's who they are, right? They're never going to let people down. They're going to come out. They're going to compete. They're going to give you their best. They're going to always put their best foot forward. The outcome sometimes doesn't. We focus really on just every day just getting better, and I think they did that in the Virgin Islands. They showed who they are.
And Coach Smith won that game on his birthday, correct?
100%.
So a great birthday present for him. Got to go down to the Virgin Islands. I'm sure that was a very memorable birthday for Coach Smith. I want to talk about two newcomers with you. Dallas Howell. We got a little introduction to Dallas last season. He arrived in December, I believe, eligible to play in January from Enterprise, Alabama. 6'7", a lefty. He can really shoot it, but I think what probably stood out the most, Coach, was the way he rebounded and defended against Mississippi State. 3 points, 5 rebounds, 1 block, going up against the big fellas down low. Then Virgin Islands, we got to see the offense, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 5 of 10 from the field. And as you guys have said, he's a knockdown shooter. He knocked down 4 threes. But what'd you make of Dallas this week?
Dallas is really accepting the challenges that the coaching staff is putting on him. Dallas was known as a stretch 4. Like, that's what he did, and that's what he was known for. But we're explaining to him that there's many ways to affect the game, and he's really taking on those challenges. He's not only rebounding the ball, but he's also defending his position a whole lot, like multiple positions, something that it wasn't his MO. And he's accepting those things. And he's obviously, when you can shoot the way he shoots it, it just lends to, being that versatile, it just lends to success in your program. So to me, I think Dallas is going to be one of those guys that a lot of people are going to really enjoy watching. And one thing that I tell you that really stands out about him, just a great teammate. Like, the guys love playing with him because he's always very positive around the guys, and he's always, just making sure that, the energy level's through the roof.
And he's a second-year freshman that got to play all through conference on the ASUN championship run a season ago.
Correct.
A newcomer that you've been hyping up to me since he arrived on campus in June, July, whenever they got here, Daniel Ortiz, Mississippi State, 2 points. He had a lot of fans and family, friends, old coaches come up to that ball game. Then down at the Virgin Islands, he went off for 20 points, 4 of 4 from 3. Also dished out 6 assists. What are your expectations out of Ortiz this year?
I think it's going to be a learning process for all these young guys, right? And you're going to see, like typical freshmen, their ups and downs. But Daniel's one of those guys that I think he's going to be a special one in our program. People are going to love watching him play. He's he's a guy that, from an offensive standpoint, folks they're going to be wowed by his skill. I think what he needs to understand is it's not so much the physicality or the speed of the game, it's the focus, right? Especially with our freshmen, is to maintain their focus for 40 minutes, because they're so used to, in certain, obviously with high school basketball, they're going to be teams that they know they're going to beat pretty easily, right? So they don't have to maintain that focus. Here, they don't have that luxury. Here, the margin of error is so small, they have to maintain their focus, and I think that's the thing that you're going to see him have to improve upon.
So you guys were in the Virgin Islands last week. You got back a couple days of practice. I think you're leaving tonight. Next road trip, they're going to Disney World, heading down to represent the ASUN Conference at the ASUN MAC Challenge. Friday, they play Manhattan. Saturday, an NCAA tournament team in Iona. But first of all, how big of an opportunity is this to represent the ASUN at a big stage like this?
Yeah, whenever you have that opportunity, it's always good to obviously where our program's headed, right? So when you get invited to play with Liberty down there, to play against two teams like Manhattan with Steve Masiello, who was a longtime assistant of Rick Pitino, and then you're playing Iona that's led by Rick Pitino. I mean, it's always going to be good for your program, right? The two teams that are the style of plays there's a contrast, right? So they play a certain way, we're going to play a certain way, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a great challenge for our team.
And then just give us some insight into these two ball games. I mean, what does the game plan look like heading into the weekend?
Well, I can tell you right now, both teams, especially Northeast squads, they like to be bullies, right? But bullies get bullied too, right? So our mindset is we got to come in and be us. We got to make sure that we don't cave into that stuff. We just got to stay the course. So I think what you're going to see is hopefully we want to play at our pace. I think they're going to want to play at another pace. They're going to want to play inside to out. We want to get the ball up and down the floor. I think they're going to try to do similar things, but for the most part, they want to drive it in the paint and they want to throw it inside to their bigs. With us, we want to play in transition. We want to play open. We want to play with space and pace. And I think those contrasts, we'll see who kind of takes over.
Two big ones this weekend. Coach Poole, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
There was an opportunity at UNA to pursue my MBA and thought that it might be a really good idea just to bolster that side of my education. I've never talked to anyone who's gone forward with their education who regretted that decision. It's not been easy, but totally worth it.
Tennis wrapped up the fall season. Next thing for you guys will be the spring, but I also overheard prior that you're going on a little trip as well. We've talked about Coach Walker's travels. Tell us about where you're headed next.
I'm going across the pond somewhere. I got to go find my daughter. She's over there somewhere doing something. So I hadn't seen her in 9 months, so it's time to go visit. So it'll be my first trip over, and we're looking forward to it. I got a couple. We're going to Istanbul, Turkey, and I've got a couple former players, Turkish players that live in Istanbul, and we've made contact. And so hopefully I'll get together with them also.
So you got to give them the Alabama experience when they came here. Are they looking forward to giving you the Istanbul experience?
Yeah, they're having a lot of fun with how are you going to talk over here, Coach? You know, the people in Alabama don't understand you. You know that we're not going to understand you over here. I said, I'll just let my wife do all the talking. So, no, we're looking forward to it. It'll be a good trip.
Wrap up the fall tennis season for us. What'd you learn about your team?
Wow. I think our guys are talented. You know, we're really talented. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that the dynamics of the team is – I've never had a team like this. I've got 6 guys here. None of them have been on campus more than one semester. And then we've got a guy we're bringing in January, which is obviously hadn't been here 0 semesters. So young, inexperienced from being around me. And the way I like to do things, I like to let the players lead. I like to have that – that older group kind of bring the younger group along. We have no older group. We've got a junior college guy. It's his 4th year in college. We got another guy. It's a 3rd year in college. He's a transfer, but they're new here, and they're just getting used to the Division I, the ASUN. So, when we look at our fall schedule, we had by far our best results we've ever had in the fall, but. There's a lot of headaches involved with young guys, and so we'll see how quick they can mature. And but man, talented. They're fun to watch. We don't really play team matches in the fall. They call them hidden duels, even though you play a team match, but we don't count it toward team records. But if you did, we would have gone 6-1, and that's pretty good. And these guys, we got a freshman in from Spain and went undefeated 7-0 at 1-2, so he can play a little bit. But we'll just, again, we start up on January 15th, doubleheader at Auburn. And we'll find out real quick, where these guys are. And but it's no question it's the most talented group we've had. If that inexperience, if that youth, if that, if we can get a little mature and get a little, Carlos, the JUCO guys is doing a phenomenal job with leadership. He's just new here. So, if we can get the right leadership, kind of get that right culture established, the guys could be pretty good. Girls are just kind of the polar opposite. We've got 2 4th-year girls, 4 3-year girls. We got 1 freshman. So we've got a pretty mature team. They don't get in a hurry doing anything, which is kind of the way I like to do things. They're doing a really good job from a standpoint of the older girls kind of leading the younger. But, this is meeting with Dr. Looney yesterday, and they're just talking about the restructuring of our roster and our GAs. I mean, this is something that I'm actually taking a GA and putting her into a roster position. Gabby, my GA last year, has still got a year of eligibility left because of COVID and then a surgery when she was at Upstate. She's got a year of eligibility left, and it got down to where I just was in. We got Meg graduating in December and then going to go to med school in the fall. So she wants to spend more time, studying for the MCAT and kind of getting ready for the med school, so she didn't really want to play. So, it got down to where, I've got an opportunity to sign a couple of people here, and I just wasn't excited about it. And, when you're going to bring in someone for 4 years, you need to be excited about them. So what moving Gabby into that role does, it allows us to recruit that scholarship again in May for next fall. So there'll be a lot more players available in the summer. So and Gabby played number 2 when she was at Upstate, had a great match when we played them 2 years ago. So we know what she can do. Now, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since she's played her last collegiate match, so she's got some work to do. But we're going to move her into that roster position, and we're actually going to take Meg and move her into an assistant coach position. That way, Meg's very comfortable, very familiar with me, kind of how we like to do things. So we're almost flipping that. And then our men's GA, Marcos Roca, graduates in December, and it was kind of a very similar situation where I just didn't like our options to bring in. And, you again, this person's going to really put their thumbprint on this team, and you want that right. You want the right thumbprint. So we went to their department and stole Sarah. We got Sarah coming over, who I don't know if y'all have seen Sarah around all the production things, but Sarah played number 1 at Murray State. Heck of a player. And her twin sister is the GA, I believe it's South Dakota or South Dakota State. And the mistake they made is they sent Sarah over to take pictures in our home tournament, and she got over there around tennis players and around because Murray State came down, and she just missed it. So we're bringing Sarah in. Sarah's going to actually be the men's GA for the spring, and then we're going to move her over to the women's side next fall. So I'm excited about that. I think Sarah's going to do a phenomenal job. I think Meg's going to do a really good job, moving into that coaching role. And then Gabby's just beside herself excited about getting one more chance to go compete. And, everybody finishes their career, and they sit around thinking, man, I wished I could do it again. Well, she's going to get that chance. So I'm excited about it. Girls open up January 14th, doubleheader at Memphis, and then the guys the next day a doubleheader at Auburn.
Tennis will have some of the best photos and hype videos of any school in the ASUN with Sarah moving over. So the women, January 14th against Memphis. You touched on the men. They open up the 15th. Auburn, a lot of SEC schools on the schedule. So we break for Christmas. I don't know if your players will go home, if they'll stick around. But then when we report back in January, they've got a quick turnaround to get ready for the season.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, this is actually, I think we've got from the first day of class 10 days. Normally we open up class on Wednesday, we play on Saturday. So we're actually doing it a week later this year than we have. And some of that is all the uncertainty with travel. Last year we played 5 matches without Guy. He couldn't get here. And he had to go quarantine in Peru, and then he had to, there was so many hoops he had to jump through. So we decided to start a week later just in case we get someone that's stuck at the airport somewhere and can't get in or whatever. We thought we'd just kind of back it up a little bit. But, yeah, they've got to be ready to go. The highest anxiety, and if you've been around me, I don't get worried about much of anything. But if there is a time that I do worry, it's during those 4 weeks when they're gone for Christmas, because when they come back, we play. There is not any of this, we got time to get them in shape. When our first day of class is the 5th, we play on the 14th and 15th. So we got to be ready to go. And typically in January, the weather outside is not real. It's not real good to go out and work your way back into it. So they've got to be ready to go.
Coach Bishop, enjoy your trip over the pond to Istanbul. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
My whole life has been about making an impact. Not just on the field, but in the world around me. My high school Spanish teacher helped me find my true calling to educate and serve others all over the world. I used to think the biggest college was the best place to start, but my search brought me to North Alabama. At UNA, my story matters, and so does my calling.
I'm Benjamin Ray, back to wrap up the final edition of the Purple and Gold Hour, brought to you by the University of North Alabama Foundation. This has been your spotlight and inside look at the University of North Alabama. Thanks again to everyone who has helped put on this show this semester. Michelle Eubanks, thanks to Eddie Forsyth, who's edited every single episode. A lot of behind-the-scenes work to pull this off. We'll be back with you at some point next semester. Be sure and check out social media for all your updates. Thanks again to all of our guests. Thanks to all of you for tuning in each and every week. We've got kickoff coming up in about an hour. North Alabama and Hampton getting set to wrap up the season. I'm Benjamin Ray saying thanks for listening to the Purple and Gold Hour, brought to you by the University of North Alabama Foundation. Roar Lions!
This has been the Purple and Gold Hour, presented by the University of North Alabama Foundation. Thanks for listening, and remember that you can catch the Purple and Gold Show 2 hours prior to every football game right here on 98.3 WLX, the home of the Lions. Roar Lions!